Yeah, it was in college that started happening. Like looking back, like I had this experience when I was 7 years old.
Yeah.
And the way I would have described it back then, looking back at it, was basically like the Holy Spirit came through like the form of like a white husky dog,
Hmm.
and then came and like knocked me over, and like I busted my head open, and I ran upstairs to my room, and I like asked for the Holy Spirit to come, and then like I could feel like this feeling come over me. Like I've never experienced that ever since then. And I was like 7 years old, and the Holy Spirit was the language that I had then. And
Yeah.
then when I was like 14 years old ish, something like that, definitely in middle school, we were walking in the line to class. And I remember so vividly, it was like in Harry, but they open up, there's like when they open the portals, like you get a wand to open a port. It was like that. It was literally like that. And it was like kind of like the sparks coming off of it with the circle. And I saw it, and I just like kept walking towards it, and it was like everything dissolved besides me and that. And then like a few seconds later, it was as if it was like, and they were like, Cameron. And I was like, oh, like everybody was in class. I was the only one in the hallway.
Yeah.
And it was like the most trippy thing I've ever experienced in my life. So I was having little things happen, but it wasn't until college, and smoking too much weed, and started having like some like holographic like stuff happen where I would like see the eye of Horus come out of my. It was really, really weird stuff. And I was also uncomfortable about it too.
Yeah.
Like, I'm Cameron, like I like, yeah, like I like drink and like get girls. I'm a football player and shit, and like still get good grades and stuff like that. But like I didn't feel comfortable being like a super nerd like that quite yet. But I also actually, slight lie, because even back then I was writing up because I was writing some of the basketball player. I mean, I was writing some of the football players' papers too, but I was writing the basketball players' papers, and a lot of them took geology, and I was like writing on like quartz and amethyst, like not like metaphysical properties, like just like a straight up like scholarly written paper over like different like gems. And so it was in me in some way, but I don't like in high school that I was never really on any of that shit at all.
Wow. Do you think in some way by writing like your peers' papers in college, that was a way for you to be maybe like your first in at being like getting respect for being nerdy? Because they had to have
Yeah,
appreciated it.
yeah, for sure. For sure. No, for sure. Definitely. Yeah. And also it was like it also gave me like I don't know, I just feel like there was always this like guys always had these bravados, and like I kind of adopted it in a sense, right? Because I like was like around like 11th, 12th grade, I was kind of starting to be like, oh, this is what the world likes. Okay, fine. I could do that. This is not even actually like impressive in this kind of way. And so I would be like, all right, fine. I'm tall. All right, now I'm be a football player. Okay, now I'm buff. Okay, actually, now I'm gonna be smart too. And I'm actually gonna treat people kind, and I'm gonna trash people who don't. So I just like kind of took on that form a little bit, but like in this way where see when I was younger, I would like fight the bullies, or like I would
Mhm.
talk shit to the shit talkers, but I would carry that like kind of like swagger to me. And I mean, I still have it deeply in me, but I just like just more chill now. And I'm just like, oh, just like I can just use this when it's time to, or if somebody fucks with somebody I like. So I just keep it super chill now, but yeah. Anyway, that's the answer.
Well, it's interesting because you've mentioned, I think, before briefly, you still, if I'm correct, you still have clients that are like, professional athletes and such. Am I getting this correct?
Have worked with people, not right now, but
Okay.
like I work with a few people who are like physical therapists or like psychologists now. Don't work with any
You
athletes.
did you for a
No.
time though? Am I getting that right?
I worked with a few people who were doing jujitsu.
Okay.
I worked with some people. Well, I kind of work with some of my friends. They were football players, but
Yeah.
not really much. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I was gonna say maybe you're still in that world. How did I mean, God, you're one of those people. There's so much to draw from, but if we can focus on the astrology for a moment, right? Like, do
Hey.
you remember when it came into your life? Do you think it found you in a sort of similar vein? or
Yeah. Yeah. Everything is always like looking back. Like I'm like, oh, like I like realized that that happened to me or through me or with me. Yeah. And so in like a really technical way, like when I found astrology, it was from the plant passion flower. And
Mm.
I had a dream and it told me to go learn about the stars. But that was like when I started working at this spiritual supply store. So obviously the alchemy and the planets found me when I was in college doing psychology, as well as when I would get really drunk, they would call me Blackout Cameron because like my eye, you would see it'd be like, or like sometimes they would call it Cameron go bye bye because my eyes would just be like pure glazed over and I would just like become like, I don't know, it's like as if people could come and press the button to get answers from Cameron when he's, because I would get blackout drunk and I would go outside and it would find me like looking at the stars and then I would just be like really like this right here and just like very chill and just like very like saying wise stuff to people and just like, yes. So I guess I started doing nighttime horror then,
nighttime
unknowingly.
horror. Let's be.
Yeah. So yeah, I think that's when astrology probably came into me, I would say.
Yeah.
Um, but then Passion Flower was like, hey, like you need to learn astrology. And I was like, okay, cool, I can do that. And I was doing a lot of experiments then too as well. And basically just taking like double-sided quartz and like pointing it up at like different stars that would want to like communicate and stuff like that. And yeah, and just, like, letting the light come into me and seeing, like, what will come up or doing, like, Kundalini yoga practices and then going out and working with stars themselves. Yeah, I was a mad scientist to begin with for sure, like, all intuitive, mad scientist. Let's see what this does. Um, what happens if you make a Pluto tincture? Just, like, really, figuring it out straight up for sure.
Wow. I think we had an IG live years ago, and I want to say the Pluto tincture might have come up.
Yeah, it probably did. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I can't recall how'd that go.
Oh, it was really intense. Like, it was just like yeah, after the first 4 people I gave the Pluto tincture to, it was just like it was, they had, like, they had to, like, work with me if they wanted to
Yeah.
take the Pluto tincture, and it had to be specific for these very specific things, like, for, like, cause yeah, like, in, like, the root work tradition that a lot of, women in Memphis work with, like, the black walnut is, like, to remove excessive influence over you.
Okay.
And so that was happening with the teacher, but in like a very aggressive way that I wanted to just like kind of like hold people in that where I would be like, hey, like, just know you can come in. This is like a specific type of tincture and it's been having these like really strong reactions. Everybody was fine,
Yeah.
but it was just like kind of intense and like my whole like, yeah, like trauma informed from the facility and stuff. I was like, watch out for this tincture. It's like really strong. But I mean, you know, I was working with a bunch of people. They were hood as fuck. They didn't give a fuck. They're like, yeah, whatever, weird ass nigga. Like, yeah, straight up. Like, I'm like, all right, whatever. But just let me know if you need something though. Like, you know, because they don't get like people here, like they don't even like now, like more people are
Yeah.
coming into the astrology, but back then, folks would just be like, man, that man weird as hell. And just like, but I'm the herb guy, and so they still gotta come to me.
That's wow. Um, and it's interesting that you were bringing the astrology within this other tradition. You said this root work tradition that you had that you were working with.
Yeah, I feel like, you know, I've been given a lot of pieces of it from a variety of women in the city who
Yeah.
carry it, right? And so they're like, you know, they all like go to church on Sunday, but then they all go into the back of the herb room on Tuesday through Saturday, and they would just come and they would just like always tell me things. They just want to tell me everything, especially when I was new. They always just wanted
Yeah.
to, you know, if you take a little bit of this and you do a little bit of that, and then you sneak it over here, then this will happen, you know, kind of thing. And so I was just like receiving like this like plethora of wisdom from like the city's women who were just like versed in the practice. And so it was just like a very yeah, I'm just was in a blessed position.
That's incredible. Is that the time I remember you were telling me when you were first studying herbalism, one of the ways that you worked with the plants was you would like come home and just like take a bath with one particular herb, like drink it as a
Mhm.
tea and just kind of like
Mhm.
imbibe in this
Mhm.
particular plant. Was that the same
Mhm.
period of
Mhm.
your life when
Mhm.
you were taking this wisdom off?
Exactly. Yeah, for sure. For sure. Yeah. And then I started getting to like test out stuff, right? So the mad scientist that with the astrology stuff, was the same version of me that was like, oh, like once a week I'm gonna do bibliomancy. Didn't even know it was called bibliomancy then, just started naturally opening up books. Here's a recipe, here's what it's supposed to do. Show and tell. That's what we used to say back at home in Philadelphia, like, when people would, like it was kinda like actually like a challenge kinda thing, like, somebody would say something, it's like, "Show and tell shit."
Mhm.
Like, you can say it, but, like, what is it really? Like, what are you really about? And so I was just like that with life, like, show and tell, like, do the thing, see if it happens, and be like, "Oh, okay," like, and then over time, I just started creating, like, a library, but it wasn't even necessarily a library, like, in the sense of, like, if you want this, you do this and that. It was more like "Oh, this thing says this," but I'm, like, starting to, like, feel this in my body, or, like, intuitively something's coming in, or, like, I could just feel how it needs to be modulated. And so, yeah, it's just like a mode of perception shift that, like, was taking place that just let me, know when it was time to know what to do, when it was time to do it, and how to do it. Um, yeah.
Wow, so it feels like you've had this sort of diversity of learning and experience, both through, right, the books, but then the oral tradition, and then your actual experiments.
Yeah, 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 yeah. I would say that for sure, yeah. And then now, yeah, I'm, like, becoming more scholarly about it, which is fun. I started getting a little too scholarly, which is to say, I started, like, relying on that as if it mattered more for, like, a small period of time, which is really fucking annoying. I didn't like that, and it also wasn't working as good as my true essence and, like, the essence of, like, the ones who walk with me. Um, yeah, what they already know, their ways of knowing is just different, more elaborate, more complex, more rich, more potent, more embodied and experiential. Um, but now it's so beautiful. Like, I'm like, oh my gosh, like, now I'm like being scholarly about it. And I've had all these experiences to like not care about the scholarliness of it so much, but also like I actually like feel really fulfilled from it.